I made it, y'all. 2 minutes to spare. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you guys what a mission it was to get on this, to make sure that I'm actually on time today. Let's make sure, let's do all our sound checks and everything before we get started. Okay, mic is working, it looks like, which is great. Oh, we have my screen share working, which is also great. That's good. All right, so I think we are ready to go. Welcome everyone to the Prep Talk live show, where I basically talk life, business, entrepreneurship, and the journey that I am on to run a successful and, a successful business and just get through life. Every single week, I have to say, this is one of the things that I look forward to the most. Despite all the, the hiccups and everything, this is one of the things that is so, so important to me. So if you are watching live or if you're watching the replay, regardless, just know I'm so happy you're here. I love doing this. I love sharing my journey and process with you guys. And so if you're watching the replay, please comment down below. Let me know that you're watching. And if you are joining in for the live, please ask questions. I'm here to help. I want to share as much knowledge as I can. And if I don't know the answer, let's figure it out together, So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into last week. Actually, I'm about to rant about this morning. So it looks like 12 o'clock is going to be ideal for the live show. It looks like it might possibly work. If you're watching the recap of last week's video, episode 8, I was talking to you about Micah and kind of what he's going through. If you follow me on Instagram, you know he's going through a kind of a transitional time, and so he used to nap two naps, and now he's like juggling between 2 naps and 1 because he's moving into the 1 nap phase of life. And so it's been really hard to figure out what his schedule is. And when I first started this live stream, his schedule was pretty down packed. I mean, we're not the type of parents that, are very rigid about timing and schedule, but just his natural ebb and flow of life. 11 a.m. used to be perfect. I used to put him down for his nap. There were no issues. He would probably just hang out in his crib for about 5 to 10 minutes and then he would knock out. Oh, now it's just a whole ordeal to even get him down to sleep. So I apologize for moving stuff around and kind of being inconsistent with that, but I want to thank everyone that was encouraging me on Instagram and was just saying, mom life first, family first, you got to do what you got to do. I appreciate you guys, because I am the type of person that if I have a meeting set, regardless if anyone shows up to the live stream or not, but if I have a meeting set and I know that people are counting on me in some shape or form, it kills me. It absolutely kills me if I can't meet my promise. If I can't come through with my promise, it just tears me apart. And so last week I just felt so bad. I was so sad that I couldn't make the 11 a.m. live stream, and I kind of knew, I could feel it, that I wasn't probably going to be able to meet that 11 a.m. commitment anymore. So I think 12 o'clock works. Please bear with me while we're going through this stuff, but I'm really just glad that I am here and I'm doing my thing. So last week, still going through that same sleep issue, napping, going to bed issue that we were having with Micah. So mom life, man, I gotta tell you, as an entrepreneur and being a parent, it is not easy. I mean, just being a parent, period, is not easy. And then being a working parent on top of that, there's just so much that goes on. And, you know, Charlie and I, we love to be very hands-on with Micah. And so he's not currently in daycare or anything like that. And we watch him as much as possible, because not because we don't feel like family and friends can't help. We definitely know that we have family more than willing to help with Micah, but it's the fact that we want to be around. We want to be present for him. And so balancing that is very, very difficult. And last week was just one of those weeks where it was difficult. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not as easy. And it carries on to today. I was trying to, you know, get myself ready, put on some makeup, just do some stuff for myself. I wanted to wrap some products that needed to be packaged and everything. I didn't get to any of that because the moment I would walk away and leave the room and leave, and Micah would be in his room, because his room is a great place for him. Everything there he's allowed to, you know, there's nothing in there that he's not allowed to have access to. And so anytime I would walk away, or even I can see him, but I'm not physically in the room, he would just follow me, and he wanted to be carried. And so I couldn't get anything done this morning. My hair is a mess. I have no makeup on. I'm trying to cover it up with my glasses, which I should be wearing in the first place, but I don't regularly. And so that's the kind of day I'm having. That's the week I've had. And yeah, that's life, you know. But at the other end of it, I had a conversation with my friend Heather this morning, because we have an accountability meeting every morning, and I was just talking to her. Normally we talk about business things and stuff like that, and I was talking to her today about just things that I've reflected on this past week, and things that I've realized about myself that's kind of holding me back, not just in personal life or you know, in home life or anything like that, but in business as well. And I didn't realize how much of my personal and business are intertwined. I knew that they were, because obviously I run a family-based business, and you know, my decisions with my business and decisions with personal life affect each other, and I knew that. But really internally, I just had that realization this week that they affect each other on a deeper level. And that has to do with just my confidence in myself. I'm sure you guys have heard of the concept of imposter syndrome and stuff like that, and I never really thought I had it. I thought it was just a confidence issue. You know, people always discuss the idea of fear of success. And I've always said, I don't think I have that. I want to be successful. It's not like I don't want to be. And I'm willing and ready to do whatever it is that I need to do to get to that point. And the more I've been thinking about it, and when I discussed it with her this morning, the more I realized there's more to it. It's of course I want to be successful, but in my eyes, am I successful currently? What is my definition of success? And has it changed over the years? Is a monetary value when I define success? Is it a place in my life? Is it a mental state? What to me is success? And why can't I be successful today? That was my clear-cut question for myself. Why can't I be happy with where I am today, even if I have a want to be better? Because everyone wants to be better than they are today. I would think. At least I do. I have a want to be better. I have a goal to always continue to improve, and I think that's a good thing. To always want to learn and to always want to improve. So that's always a goal of mine. The question is how. But the other level of it is, even if you want to, that's great. Even if you want to learn and continue to improve and continue to be a student of life, that's great. But you can do that while being happy right now, right? And that was a foreign concept to me. I realized it last week that just because I want to be better and just because I want to improve doesn't mean I can't be happy with who I am right now. And that is where I found the issue. I'm not. And I'm just being upfront with you guys because I'm an open book for the most part. I'm not happy with who I am today. And that's where I find the problem. I want to be, because I think that's the main thing that's standing in my way. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the journey that I'm on. I would never change anything because I'm grateful. But does that translate into success to me? To be honest, no, it doesn't. And I think it should, because I can be successful today while still wanting to be better. And that's what I'm trying to shift. I'm trying to shift that mindset of, yes, I can strive to be a better person tomorrow and the days after. And yes, I can try to achieve goals and set out goals for myself. But that doesn't mean I can't be happy with who I am right now. And so that's what I want to work on. It's come along with this whole theme of 2021. I posted a video at the beginning of 2021 where I shared what my goals were. And this year has been such a different year for me in the sense of how I set my goals. Usually I'm very granular, I'm very specific. I have like some sort of plan in place, and then I try to implement those things, and I get very like specific when it comes to how I journal and how I plan and all that stuff. And this year I'm a little more go with the flow. I loosened the reins a little bit because I knew that me holding such a tight grip on my life and wanting so much control wasn't necessarily benefiting me, because with anything, there's a pro and a con, and it's to a certain extent good to know where you're at, what you want to accomplish, what needs to get done. But at the same time, if there's too much of that, if there's too much grip and too much control, that's also not a good thing. And so I want that balance of just finding my rhythm and what comes naturally to me, and also knowing what I need to do to move things forward and being on top of that to a certain extent. And so that's why in the last few episodes I've been talking about figuring out what comes naturally to you first and adjusting accordingly. Like if you're trying to figure out what kind of planner or productivity app or whatever it is that's going to work for you, something that I've been stressing in every single week that I do these live shows is you want to find the one that fits best with your existing lifestyle. And so if that's an app because you already have your phone on you all the time, great. If it has to be a notebook or a planner because getting on your phone means you distract too easily, then great, that works too. So finding the natural rhythm first and then creating a more structured plan after is, I think, my best advice. And it's something that I'm trying to take into my own account and be more flexible, because I'm a little tightly wound, to be honest with you. And so I'm trying to let go a little bit, and I'm doing better. Another thing that was kind of just something that was an eye-opener this past week was the idea of FOMO. And being in the restaurant industry, everything's opening up here in Los Angeles, and the economy, the restaurants, the stores are basically back to normal. And in LA County, they say that if you're vaccinated, you actually don't need to wear a mask anymore. You don't need to social distance and all that stuff. And while that's exciting, and while I'm so excited and happy for the restaurant industry and all of my peers, it also gives me a sense of FOMO, like people are expanding, people are opening up their restaurants again, people are hosting private events at their venues, and I kind of miss it, now that we're not in that phase of life and we don't have our restaurant anymore. And the world is starting, hopefully the entire world will start to recover soon, but at least here in California, we are hopefully on our way to the new normal. And that sense of FOMO made me realize, I think I touched on it last week. If I didn't, that's what I've been feeling the last few weeks. But that is also what helped me to contribute to the thought of, why can't I be happy with my own journey? Why am I looking at others? And I know I'm not the only one that's comparing, and I'm not doing it in a malicious way. I actually am happy for my colleagues and my friends that are able to do these amazing things. And I'm like, I want to do those amazing things with you guys. But I realize, and I keep telling myself, whenever I have those thoughts, I keep telling myself, you are doing those amazing things with them on your own journey and on your own path. And I need to remind myself that, because I get victim of it. I get victim of I get sucked into those, I miss what I used to have, or I wish I had what they have, because it looks so great. It looks so amazing, and I'm so excited because I know what's possible for them, and that's an exciting thing, and I want that too, and I have to remind myself and realize that I do have that too. It's not that I can have that too. I do have it too in my own way. And in my way, there is no physical location that's, a brick and mortar place. I have the luxury of traveling around and picking and choosing if I want to work on a weekend or if I don't. And I didn't have that before when we had our brick and mortar location. And so I have had to constantly remind myself that I am on my own path, and it's a good path, and it fits within what I want for my life. So that being said, we are approaching, and I know I mentioned last week, we are approaching the end of Q2 of 2021. Next week is going to be the last week of 2021, last week of Q2 for 2021. And so this week I thought, because I'm doing all this reflection and I'm trying to remind myself that I have things that I'm accomplishing myself, and I want to look back and see if what I set out in Q2 was actually accomplished, if I accomplished anything at all. I know I kind of did. I know I did for at least one thing, and we'll go into that when I share my screen. But that is what today's episode is going to be about. Let's reflect on Q2, because I was talking about that in my group coaching office hours. So we'll go into the challenge for all of us, for you and I, at the end of the episode, what the homework will be for next week. But I want to just kind of walk through my goals and see if I accomplished anything in this last quarter. That way I can kind of take a poll of what I've done and haven't done. And then I'm going to take this next week until Prep Talk Live show next week and try and figure out what I want to accomplish in Q3. Q3 is going to be July, August, and September. So that is right before the holiday season. Q3 for me, I just realized, is going to be a good quarter, because I know that Q4 for any business, but mostly product-based businesses, Q4 is a big one, because the holidays are upon us in quarter four. And when you sell products, that is your time to shine, guys. So I want to try and do as much of the back end work in my business for quarter three. And that way, for quarter four, I'm kind of sailing when it comes to the back end of the business. I'm kind of sailing smooth. And what I will really focus on in quarter four is to drive in as much sales as possible and find as much opportunity as possible to create a great holiday season, not just for the business, but for our family as well. So let's look at let's look at quarter two, so that we can start evaluating where we're at with our goals and if we need to realign, because June tends to be this time where people fall off because summer is upon us. They start focusing on maybe fitness goals or health goals because summer is here. They forget about other goals or what they even set out to do at the beginning of the year, because we're right smack dab in the middle. And so it's a great time to do this and to kind of reflect and see where we're at. So let's go in to Notion, shall we? Let me share my screen. All right. So we are back in my Notion HQ. And so I have a section here that I call forecasting. I changed my terminology for goal setting because a lot of it is also kind of planning ahead of what needs to be the priority in every season of this particular year. And so forecasting reminds me of the weather. You know, it reminds me of seasons of like spring, summer, fall, and winter. It just reminds me of the ebb and flow, just of nature in general. And so I like the term forecasting versus goal setting, because it helps me to remember that it's not just goals that I'm trying to set out here. It's also creating a lifestyle based on where my business is in the ebbs and flows. And if you have a business like ours that is not necessarily seasonal, but has these ebbs and flows, and it's not just consistent all the time, then forecasting is a great way to do that. And as I mentioned, you know, with a business like a product-based business or a food business, for us, I would say spring and winter is our most busy time. And so summer and fall is preparation time for us. And that being said, since I am now a huge gardening junkie, anytime I can kind of use garden terminology as a parallel for life for me is very inspirational for me. And so forecasting in that way as well is very helpful for me, because I realize that for personal life, spring and fall are going to be my peak times when I can spend the most time with family. Why? Because for business, winter and spring winter and spring are going to be peak time. So if it's going to be busy for us in winter and spring, then I know that summer and fall is the time where I can focus on personal and family. That's just the ebb and flow of my particular business. It could be very different for you based on what you sell, based on what products you create. So that is another thing that you want to think about. When you forecast for your year, when is it going to be busiest for you, and when is it going to be slower? And that way you can kind of plan vacations. You can brace yourself for the busy season, all of that type of stuff. So let's go into forecasting. So here's just the description. Forecasting is basically my goal setting area: yearly, quarterly, monthly, and weekly goal setting. 2021 Cultivate. This page is my breakdown of my word for the year. And my word for the year this year was cultivate. I've shared this in many of my goal setting videos before, but one thing that has really stuck out to me with regard to the word cultivate this year or this season is preparation. And when I saw that, if I look up cultivate as the term cultivate and what it actually means, this really stuck out to me. The preparation and use of land for crops or gardening. And so the key word for me, I think, in Q3 is going to be preparation. So that being said, hold me to that next week, next Monday, because it's one of the it should be one of the pillars for my keyword this year. So right now my pillars are growth, nurture, prune, and harvest. I am actually going to replace the word harvest with preparation, because I'm not ready to reap the harvest yet. There has to be preparation. Just like when I garden and I'm getting my garden ready for seeds, to plant seeds into the ground, I have to prepare the soil. And I didn't know this. I thought you just throw a seed into the dirt and it's just going to grow if you water it. And for some, it does do that. But for really good things like vegetables and certain flowers and stuff like that, there has to be certain nutrients and certain things in the soil for it to actually thrive and bear fruit. And that requires preparation. It's not just throwing fertilizer in there and it growing. There has to be a lot of components in your soil, not just fertilizer, but also there has to be like good insects like worms and ladybugs and things like that will, and bees and other pollinators that will help you have a thriving garden. And so I think for me, Q3 is going to be preparation. In Q1, my key pillar was prune. Definitely. I definitely think my key pillar was prune. I had to cut ties with certain things. I had to cut things off mentally because we were closing we had closed our restaurant, and I had to let that phase of my life go. There was a lot of pruning that was happening in my life. And ironically enough, that was during the winter season. And so during the winter season, my garden was very bare. It was very minimal. And I thought that, because I was in this season of pruning, that nothing was really going to be fruitful. But man, I was really wrong. There was still great things that came out of the garden, just like there were still great things that were coming out of my life, even though I thought closing the restaurant was such a sad thing. It was a sad thing, because like I said, I'm experiencing that FOMO right now because, everything's opening up and all my friends are opening their restaurants again. But that pruning season still had a lot of fruitful things. I still was able to grow lettuce. We had so much lettuce. We had so much bok choy. We had so much spinach, all kinds of leafy green vegetables that we were still able to harvest, because those plants really thrive in cold weather. And it might not be what I expected, because you're expecting like your garden to look like your spring garden all the time. Your spring garden has tons of flowers and there's bees flying everywhere and there's tons of fruit and vegetables to be picked and stuff like that. And that's great. That's a great season. But just because the garden looks bare doesn't mean there's nothing that you can harvest. And so that was a big lesson for me. And pruning really prepared me for the spring, because since I pruned my vegetable garden, a lot more green growth happened in the springtime. So Q1 was definitely a pruning season for me. Q2, I would say, was focused on nurturing. Not just the garden, obviously, but obviously nurturing myself. And I think that's why the whole theme of loving myself more and wanting to have more self-love was what came out of Q2, because I was trying to really take care of myself and nurture myself, not just physically, but mentally. I was trying to improve my mindset. I was trying to break through a lot of things. And though I haven't like broken through everything, there was that sense of just knowing that I wanted to be better, and the way to do that and answer that call was to take care of myself more. And it's very, very, very hard for me to do. I am not good at self-care. And I know self-care is such a taboo thing nowadays, but it's because, like, for me, it's so true. I do not want to buy myself things. I always just think, you know what I could do with that money versus buying myself a new shirt, even though one of my shirts are completely like ruined because I've had that particular shirt for 5 years and it now has a hole and I still refuse to throw it away. Like, it's those things where I'm like, okay, I'm not looking to be so extravagant with it, you know. I still want to, within means, be frugal, but I also don't want to withhold myself something that I know can help me. And that brings us to my Q2 goals. So let's go into Q2 and figure out what the goals were. So this is just my template of how I set my goals. I'm going to do the exact same thing when I do Q3, and it's just the same template. So I have my yearly goals at the top, so I'm reminded constantly throughout the year what goals or intentions I set out for myself at the beginning of the year. And that's just because it's so easy to forget. I mean, 6 months is a long amount of time, but it's also very short. But it's long enough for you to forget what you were even going through at the beginning of the year. And so I put these yearly goals here just so that it's easy for me to look back and remember. Q1 I put as well because I want every quarter to be a lesson learned for the next. And so I learned something about myself in Q1. If I want to reference back, it's very easy for me to do so because I have the link to my Q1 goals right here, and it's easy for me to reference. And then I set out my Q2 goals based on my yearly goals. So one of my yearly goals was create a more thriving home. And so how was I going to do that in Q2? Build Micah's playground. Proud to say Charlie did an amazing job, and he was able to put the playground together. I helped him a little bit. I didn't get to do a lot of it because he is more he's such a handy person, and so he's great with doing that type of stuff. I was more like flipping through the handbook and trying to figure out how to, like, what the steps are to put things together. So it was definitely a family effort, but we were able to put Micah's playground together. And then another goal of mine in Q2 was to order picture frames. That's something that carried over from Q1 because I didn't get to do. Q2, I didn't get to do it either. But the good news is, as we were cleaning out, you know, and we were kind of reorganizing the house a little bit, I found picture frames that I have yet to open that I want to use, which I'm so happy about because that means I don't have to buy picture frames. But now I'm going to need to print the photos that I want to be put in those frames. So technically this is done, but I need to order the photos now. Oh, actually, no, I put order photos for frame. Man. Okay, see, I need to do that. So that's going to carry on into quarter 3. Oh, well. All right. Pay off debt and invest. Okay. That was a goal for the year. And in quarter 2, my goal was to find ways to save on monthly expenses. I was able to find a way to save money on one thing, and that was our cell phone bill. So we switched carriers, and we are saving almost $100 a month, which I'm very happy about. Actually, we are saving, almost $100 a month. So that is going to be put to good use. And then make a schedule of debt. I do have a budget in Google Sheets that I use. So we did that and talk about the debt plan with Charlie, which I do not on a regular basis. I would like to do it on a regular basis, but anytime we come into an influx of money, I'm always like, okay, what do we do with it? And most of the time we agree we need to pay debt. So anytime we're about to do that, we just paid off one credit card recently. So anytime we're about to do that, we talk about it and make sure we're on the same page, and then we'll pay it, and then we're good to go. We paid off one card because there's another card that we've decided that we're going to be using for travel, because it's a travel card, and we are going on vacation this coming August. And so we're using that card, which was originally a zero balance, and we're using it now because we want to make sure we use the travel benefits that come with it, like travel insurance and car rental insurance and all that stuff. So that, even though we paid off a card, it's kind of moving into another expense, but that's all good. We're still going to be coming up with a plan to pay that down, and so that'll be a plan for quarter 3 for us. Okay, next is full-time coaching career. So a lot of what I've been focusing on as far as business goes is not just the food business with Ninongs. It's actually growing this channel. It's growing the live show. It's finding my community. And so this is what I thought I wanted to accomplish in quarter 2. I have a webinar that I've used for previous speaking engagements, and I wanted to use that to try and grow my community, and I've decided that I'm going to put that on hold for now. Also grow my social media, because that is the main way that I find you guys and am able to share life with you through Instagram and here on YouTube. And so that was something that I wanted to focus on. And then my other thing that I wanted to do was create an online course. And so that is actually going to be changed in quarter 3, because something that Heather talked to me about today gave me a light bulb moment this morning about just always picking the harder projects that don't come naturally to me versus picking the easy things that I know that I can get done and is effortless. And the online course, I'm sorry guys, I have something in my eye. The online course is definitely a non-negotiable. It's something that I want to do eventually, but it's not something that I'm going to do right now, because it's such a daunting task in my brain that it paralyzes me. And so it's not going to be my focus for quarter 3, but if I feel the urge or if I feel inspired to work on it, I will. Putting pressure on myself with this specific project is not effective for me. Normally pressure works very well for me to get stuff done. I am a procrastinator, and sometimes in a bad way, but not always in a bad way. When a fire is lit under me and there's a real reason why I need to do something, then I really do it and I get it done. and I do it well. But if I'm cruising, I tend to not be motivated to do big daunting projects like that. So if I get it done in quarter 3, great, because eventually it's gonna happen. It will. But if it's gonna get done in quarter 3 or not, I'm not sure. The thing that I do want to focus on is the live show, and we'll talk about that next week when it comes to goal setting. But that being said, I share this to say, just like with anything, nothing is set in stone. You can change your mind. And in this section, I'm changing my mind. This is not what I want to focus on when it comes to my coaching career, because I realize that there's another tool out there that I have that is fun for me, that's effortless, and that I can easily do, that is going to be beneficial for my community, for you guys. And it's not going to be like pulling teeth for me. And if that's the case, it's a win-win. I'm going to do that. And so, like I said, you can set out to have a goal in quarter 2, and then you can realize, because you're reflecting, you can say, I'm in a different place. I realized, yeah, that's what I originally wanted to do, but I found a more effective way to reach the end goal without doing that. And that's okay. You don't have to commit to those things and then have to do them if it doesn't come naturally to you. If you find an alternative, by all means, do it. Go for it. All right, and then be more healthy. Drink 2 hydro flasks. I have a 40-ounce hydro flask, and so I set out a goal to drink 2 of those per day. I don't do it every day because, let's be real, but I try to, as much as possible, keep it at the forefront. And because I knew this was a daily goal, I actually put it in my daily journal. So let me open that up for you guys so you can see where it is. So here in my daily journal, actually, let's go to last week. Okay. If I open up my daily journal, you'll see in the properties that I have my water tracker right here. And so what I like to do is I like to use the water drop emoji, and every time I drink one full one, I'll put a water drop emoji, and then when I drink the second one, I'll put the other one in there. I don't religiously mark it, but I'm very aware, and so I tried to make it as easy as possible. Basically 2 hydro flasks. I can keep track of that. If you're telling me 12 glasses of water, I might not be able to keep track of it as easily. So I knew I wanted to drink at least this much, and then if I do more, great. That's a great thing. And then next thing, a goal that I had was to lower my sugar intake and pick better carbs to eat. And I want to say that I did accomplish that, because in this last month, I really wanted to focus on what I was eating. I've been really low on energy lately, and it affects everything, obviously, not just me, but it affects my family, it affects my business. And so I knew that the best thing to start with was my diet. What I was eating was making me lethargic, I wasn't feeling great, and I wanted to start internally. So that's what I did, and I want to continue to do that in quarter 3. That's going to definitely help with the self-love aspect and loving myself more, appreciating who I am at this very moment, because I'm making good choices. I'm choosing to put good things into my body, and so I know that I'm doing what I can to be the best me today. And so that's obviously something that's going to carry into quarter 3. It's not something I ever want to stop. And so whenever that happens, or whenever that moment happens, I definitely want to share with you guys when I've finally broken through that barrier of not liking who I am today, because that's the truth. And it makes me really sad to say it, just because I'm, not only am I a coach, but I am also just myself. And to know that I don't appreciate who I am today doesn't make me feel great, you know, like it doesn't make me feel good. And so it makes me sad to know that I look at myself like that, but I want to improve it. And I am, when I look back at quarter two, this was my quarter two goals, guys. Like there were only a few things that I didn't accomplish, and for the most part, I didn't accomplish them because I'm going to pivot and I'm going to change, not because of what I thought, which is what I thought was I was lazy. I was being lazy, and because I was being lazy, I wasn't being proactive toward achieving my goals. But I actually did achieve a good amount of them. So that makes me feel amazing, actually. I feel really good that, you know, I actually accomplished what was in quarter two, and next week we're going to go into quarter three. So let's see if I already made a quarter three Q3 goals. I did. Okay. So Q3 goals, the template is here. So I already have my yearly goals on top. I have my Q1 goals for reference, and I have my Q2 goals for reference too. And then next week, what we're going to do is we're going to be filling this out. So I'm going to remove all of this stuff because this was from last quarter. And then we're going to go through it and fill out this entire template together next week. So I'm going to delete this. That way we can start fresh. All right. So template's ready to go. The bottom section here is just a view of my 2021 goals. And that will help me. That's just reference. It'll help me set these goals because, like I said, I want my yearly goals to be my I want my quarterly goals to have an effect on my yearly goals. I don't want to just set goals and forget them after the quarter is done. I want to make sure that incrementally I'm working on the yearly big goal, the big picture. And the only way I can do that is to keep looking at the big picture somehow. And so that's why I made these. So if you guys want these templates, I'm more than happy to share them with you. Comment below and say, templates please. And I'm more than happy to share them. I'll put them as a shareable link so that you guys can use them. And what's great is you can easily take those templates from me and update them and use them. Just because it's a template for me doesn't mean you have to use it in the exact same way that I do. You can definitely use it in your own way and change these things so that it works for you. So if you're not a quarterly person and you want to just break it down monthly, do that. You can use this same template for that. If you want to break them down weekly, then I suggest using my weekly agenda because I take my quarterly goals and I like to break them down week by week. I don't set monthly goals anymore. I used to, but for me, 1 month goes by really, really fast. It almost feels like as fast as a week. So I actually plan my life yearly, and then quarterly, and then weekly. And that's just what happens to work for me. You can definitely do it whichever way works for you, and I encourage you to. So think about that. As we're about to embark on the journey of setting goals for Q3, are you a monthly goal setter? Are you a weekly goal setter? Are you a yearly goal setter? And then how naturally do you want to chug away at those, big goals, those yearly big goals in your regular daily or weekly life? And so this is how it works for me. And I'm more than happy, like I said, to share this stuff with you guys. If it's a good starting point for you, by all means use it. And then also, one thing that I did want to share is, the last thing is my affirmations card. So this is something that I got from this company called Affirmation Darling. we were neighbors at one of our pop-ups in downtown LA, and I got these cards from her, and they're so cute. They're awesome. They're like a deck of cards, and basically what I'm doing with them, because it's so open-ended, you could do whatever you want with them, but what I'm personally doing is I'm taking an affirmation. This was last week's affirmation. I will press on until I achieve my heart's desires. That was last week's affirmation. And what I'm doing is I'm picking a card every week, and that's going to be my focus when it comes to appreciating myself more. And so I just kind of open it like this. I'll shuffle it a little bit, and then I'll pick whichever one, and I leave it on my desk for the entire week. And that way, whenever I sit here, which is almost every day, but let's say at least 4 times a week, I can see it and I'll read it, and it'll get me to say it. Okay, so this week's is, I will not hurry my destiny. I will find me when I'm ready. Ooh, look at that. I will not hurry my destiny. I will find me when I'm ready. Guys, what was I just talking about? Isn't that crazy? Crazy timing. I was just talking about wanting to love myself more because of FOMO. And then this pops up. I will find me when I'm ready. So I'm going to leave this out on my desk. I put all the cards back, and then the deck just sits on my desk. And then I put this like this, and then it just sits on my desk. I love that. I have to say, I am not a big positive affirmation person. I've tried it. It's not that I don't obviously believe in it, but I'm definitely a believer of like visualizing something and it coming to life and it happening for you. But I think part of the reason why affirmations aren't working for me, positive affirmations or visualization, whatever you want to call it, or whatever activity you do, the reason why that practice isn't working for me is because I don't actually believe it. I don't actually believe that I can achieve it. And so something that I'm going to commit to for this quarter is picking one of these affirmations every week. And then I'm also going to commit to a short prayer every day. That's just as simple as, God, help me to see myself the way you see me. And I'm just going to say it every day. It's a 1-sentence prayer and affirmation, and I'm going to commit to it for the entire quarter, because I really do believe that there's something more than, at least for me, this is my belief system, and there has to be more than just me at play for me to find motivation in doing something. I either need a buddy, or I need, someone doing it with me. I need a business partner. I need someone to bounce ideas off of. I need a like-minded person. I need an encourager that's going to go along the road with me. And even if it's not necessarily us having the same common goal, let me remove my screen share. If it's not me having the same common goal, that's fine, but just someone to talk to that is going through a struggle of their own and being able to relate in that way. I need that. That is what helps me really move forward. And I think that's why these live shows are just so fruitful for me, and why I'm motivated to do them, because not only am I trying to improve myself, but I'm looking for other people that want to do it too, that want to improve themselves, that want to grow their business, that want to accomplish something, and are willing to go through the journey together. I'm a very community-oriented person. I do not thrive in a competition setting. I thrive in community setting. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with competition, because healthy competition can make you so much better and can help you think more creatively and can help change your perspective about something but it has to be healthy competition. And when there's healthy competition, there's community that comes along with it. And so I'm a community-based person. That's where I thrive. That's what I love. And so knowing that, I want to be able to include people in what I'm struggling with. That way they can help me and I can help them. And so, like I said, that's why I feel like this works. This live show works for me, and I look forward to it every week. It's something that I can't skip, that I don't want to skip. And if I had to skip because the timing is off, I would reschedule it. And it would have to happen no matter what, once a week, because it's important to me. It's really important to me to show up because I really want that community. I want to have people that think like me, but that can help me think on my toes and that can help challenge me to be better. I don't want yes men. I don't want yes men and women and people. I want people that will agree with me when they really truly think something is a good idea, and then also will push me and say, can you take that further? Can you take that concept further? Or is that really good for you based on what you said is important to you right now? You know, ask those key people that can ask those key questions. I want to find those people, and I want to be that for someone else. So that being said, those are my updates for this past week. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm going to be doing major reflection this week on my goals for quarter 3. I hope you do the same. Next week we'll go over that. I'll do the rundown of, you know, what happened the week before as usual, and we can just talk life, talk business, and prep the best we can. All right? So if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm here every week on Mondays, 12 p.m. Pacific, so long as my son cooperates. And if you want to connect with me before next week's show, please follow me on Instagram. I'm there more often than I am on YouTube. You can follow me at JustKissa. And if you are watching the replay, thank you guys. I'm going to have the chapter markers down below. So if you want to skip to something right after this live, I'm going to create those chapter markers so you can skip to a specific topic if you want to just watch that and go over it. But thank you guys again. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you next Monday. Take care. Bye.